Have you ever felt the weight of a gaze that seemed to pierce through your very soul? In the quiet town of Willow Creek, nestled deep within the forests of Oregon, I often felt such a gaze. From the moment I returned to this place, where laughter once echoed from the playgrounds and the air was thick with the scent of pine, I sensed something was amiss. But how could I explain it? After all, this was the town of my childhood, a place where my memories danced like shadows around familiar corners. My name is Clara Mitchell, and I grew up in Willow Creek, a town that was rumored to hold secrets beneath its surface. I was drawn back here by the death of my grandmother, a woman who had whispered tales of the supernatural since I was a child. As I walked down Maple Street, my heart thumped in rhythm with the creaking of the old oak trees, their gnarled branches twisted like the faces of those who had come and gone. The sun hung low, casting a golden hue over the remnants of a once vibrant community. Yet beneath that warmth, a chill lingered, an unshakable sense that something dark had settled over Willow Creek. 2 days after my arrival, whispers began to weave through the town like the fog that rolled in from the river at dusk. I encountered them at the coffee shop on the corner of Elm and Pine, where the locals gathered to share their lives over steaming cups. The barista, a girl named Sarah with wide eyes and a nervous laugh, spoke in hushed tones about strange occurrences. "People have been acting different," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "It's like they're not themselves anymore." I brushed it off as small-town gossip, fueled by the shock of my grandmother's passing. But that night, as I lay in the creaky bed of my childhood home, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. The wind howled outside, rattling. The window panes and shadows danced along the walls, morphing into monstrous shapes. Just as sleep began to claim me, a blood-curdling scream pierced the night, echoing through the stillness. It came from the old Thompson house, a crumbling structure at the end of Willow Creek Lane, long abandoned, yet never forgotten. The Thompsons had been a family of good repute until one fateful night when they disappeared without a trace. I had heard the stories, rumors of dark rituals and ghostly apparitions, but I had always dismissed them as fiction. Yet now, with the screams still ringing in my ears, curiosity gnawed at me, compelling me to investigate. As I ventured toward the Thompson house, the cool air wrapped around me like a shroud, and the trees seemed to lean in closer, as if warning me to turn back. The house loomed ahead, its broken windows like hollow eyes watching my approach. Memories of my childhood flooded back, playing hide-and-seek with friends in the sunlit fields, innocent laughter that now felt like a distant echo. But the fear that gripped my heart was not just about the house. It was the fear of what had lingered in the shadows of my past. When I stepped inside, a palpable darkness enveloped me, thick and suffocating. The air was stale, heavy with secrets that begged to be unearthed. But I had no idea that the true horror was only beginning to reveal itself. As I searched the dimly lit rooms, a terrible realization dawned upon me. The stories were not just tales meant to frighten children. They were warnings, and I was about to uncover a truth that would shatter the fragile peace of Willow Creek forever. But when night fell, something inexplicable happened. The moment the sun dipped below the horizon, the air around me shifted. The darkness that enveloped the Thompson house seemed to come alive, pulsating with an energy that made my skin crawl. I had barely taken a few steps inside when I heard the unmistakable sound of footsteps echoing from the hallway. My heart raced as I turned, half expecting to find someone or something lurking in the shadows. "Clara?" a voice called out, breaking the silence. It was a familiar voice, one that sent a wave of relief crashing over me. I stepped into the hallway, my heart still pounding, and found Jamie, my childhood friend. His face was pale, eyes wide with fear. "Jamie!" What are you doing here? I gasped, trying to steady my breath. I could ask you the same thing, he replied, glancing nervously toward the darkened rooms. I heard the scream too. I thought it was just my imagination, but when I saw you leave your house, I couldn't just sit back. I had to come. I frowned, feeling a mixture of gratitude and annoyance. This place is dangerous, Jamie. You shouldn't have come here. He shook his head, determination etched on his face. I'm not leaving you alone in this. Not after everything that's happened. Before I could argue, the sound of a door creaking open echoed from deeper within the house. We exchanged wary glances, and I felt a shiver run down my spine. Something was definitely wrong here. As we crept further into the darkness, I could feel the weight of the house pressing down on me. The walls seemed to close in, whispering secrets I wasn't ready to hear. I turned to Jamie, determined to keep my mind focused. Have you heard the rumors about the Thompsons? About the rituals? He nodded, his expression grave. Yeah, but I thought they were just stories. You know how people get when they want to scare each other. Then why do I feel like we're being watched? I whispered, glancing over my shoulder. The shadows danced, and I was certain I saw a figure just beyond the edge of the flickering flashlight beam. Before Jamie could respond, a loud bang echoed from upstairs, sending a jolt of adrenaline through me. We should check it out, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. I hesitated, my instincts screaming at me to leave. What if it's something? Or someone who needs help, he countered, his determination unwavering. Reluctantly, I nodded. Together, we climbed the staircase, each creak sounding like a warning bell. As we reached the second floor, I felt the air grow even colder. A chill settled in my bones, and I could see my breath misting in front of me. We stepped into the first room, and what we saw made my blood run cold. The walls were covered in strange symbols, etched into the wood with what looked like dried blood. In the center of the room, a small altar stood, adorned with candles that flickered ominously, even though no wind stirred. Clara, what is this? Jamie's voice trembled, and I could see the fear in his eyes. I don't know, I replied, my own voice barely above a whisper. But we need to get out of here. Just as we turned to leave, the door slammed shut, trapping us inside. Panic surged through me as I rattled the handle, but it wouldn't budge. I felt Jamie's hand on my shoulder, grounding me in the chaos. Clara, listen, he said, his voice steady despite the fear in his gaze. We need to figure out what's going on. This isn't just some haunted house. There's something here, something that wants us to stay. In that moment, I realized that we were in over our heads. The stories of Willow Creek weren't just tales. They were warnings, and whatever force lurked within the Thompson house was now aware of us. I could feel its presence, a malevolent force that preyed upon our fears and fed off our uncertainty. As I looked into Jamie's eyes, I saw the same determination reflected back at me. We have to unravel this, I said, my voice firm. We can't let whatever is here win. But even as I spoke the words, a deep sense of dread settled in my heart. The night had only just begun, and I had a feeling that we were about to uncover truths that would change Willow Creek and us forever. My heart thudded in my chest, a relentless drumbeat of anxiety as I stood in that chilling room, the walls closing in around us. I was desperate to maintain my composure, to reassure Jamie that we could handle whatever was happening. But my mind was racing. My childhood memories flooded back, whispers of dark rituals, tales of the Thompson house that my grandmother had, recounted when I was just a girl. I had dismissed them as mere stories, but now I felt their weight pressing on my shoulders. Clara, look. Jamie pointed toward the altar where an old leather-bound book lay open. The pages were yellowed and fraying, and strange symbols were scrawled across them. Maybe this can help us understand what's happening. As I stepped closer, my stomach twisted, The symbols looked familiar, not from the stories my grandmother told, but from my own nightmares. I could hardly breathe as I realized they were the same markings I had seen in my dreams since I was a child. Disturbing images of shadowy figures and whispered incantations. Clara? Jamie's voice broke through my reverie, laced with concern. Are you okay? I nodded, though my mind felt like it was unraveling. I've seen these before, in my dreams. It's like they've been haunting me. Haunting you? He stepped closer, his brow furrowing. Do you think it's connected? Before I could answer, the candles on the altar flickered violently, casting elongated shadows across the room. The air thickened, and I felt an inexplicable pull toward the book. My hand reached out almost involuntarily, fingers brushing against the worn leather. What if... I hesitated, the words heavy on my tongue. What if everything we thought we knew about this place is wrong? What if it's not just the Thompsons who were involved in these rituals? Jamie's eyes widened in realization. You mean your family? Your grandmother was part of this? A sickening knot formed in my stomach. I had always thought my family's past was nothing more than an interesting lineage. But now the implications twisted like a knife. She never spoke of it directly, but there were always hints. Strange artifacts, warnings about the house, and the way people looked at us when we talked about our heritage. The shadows in the room seemed to pulse, responding to my confession, and suddenly I felt a cold breeze brush against my skin, as if the very walls were listening. What if this is all connected to me? To us? I whispered, fear tightening its grip around my throat. Just then, the door burst open and a figure stepped into the room, silhouetted against the dim light of the hallway. I gasped. It was my younger brother Alex, who had gone missing months. Ego. But he looked different. His eyes were hollow and his expression was one of knowing that sent chills down my spine. Clara, he said, his voice eerily calm. You have to stop this. You don't understand what you're dealing with. Alex, I cried, rushing toward him, but he took a step back, shaking his head. You shouldn't be here. What do you mean? I asked, bewildered, as the reality of his presence settled in. He looked at Jamie, then back to me, a sadness in his eyes that I had never seen before. You think you're the only one connected to this house? You're not just a victim, you're a part of it. Panic clawed at my insides. My brother's words echoed in my mind, unraveling the fragile threads of sanity I had left. This wasn't just a haunted house, it was a reckoning, and we were all intertwined in its dark history. As the shadows deepened around us, I felt the weight of the past crashing down, leaving me no choice but to confront the truth. My family's secrets were not just whispers of the past. They were the very fabric of the darkness we now faced. With my brother standing there, a ghost of the boy I once knew, everything shifted. The night was far from over, and it was clear that uncovering the truth would require confronting not just the house's horrors, but the very essence of who I was, who we were, tied to the malevolence that awaited us. My heart raced as I stood there, my brother's hollow gaze boring into me. The shadows in the room seemed to thicken, wrapping around us like a shroud, and an oppressive silence filled the air. What do you mean, Alex? I managed to choke out, my voice trembling as the weight of his words sunk in. He stepped closer, his face a mask of sorrow, and I could barely recognize the boy who had once been my playful partner in mischief. This house, Clara, it's a part of us. It's been feeding off our fears, our secrets. You can't just waltz in here thinking you can break its hold without understanding the cost. Cost? What cost? I shot back, my fear morphing into anger. You've been missing for months. We thought you were gone, lost to whatever darkness this place harbors. Don't you see? He implored, desperation creeping into his voice. I'm not lost. I'm a part of it now. I've seen things, Clara. Things I can't even begin to explain. The rituals, the entities, they're drawn to us. You need to listen to me." Jamie stepped forward, his expression a mix of concern and defiance. "We're not going to let this place take anyone else, Alex. We're going to find a way to stop it." But Alex shook his head, a faint, haunting smile creeping across his lips. "You think you can fight it? You have no idea what you're up against. It's not just an entity, it's a hunger that's been sated by our family for generations. It knows us, Clara. It craves us." I felt the ground beneath me shift, my body trembling with an overwhelming urge to flee. But I stood my ground. "No! I refuse to believe that! I won't let it win! I'll find a way to break this cycle!" As I spoke, the air crackled with energy, and the shadows around us writhed like living beings. Suddenly, the book on the altar slammed shut, sending a shockwave through the room. The candles flickered violently, and the shadows stretched toward us, dark fingers reaching out as though eager to drag us into the abyss. "Clara, you need to make a choice!" Alex shouted, his voice rising above the chaos. "You can embrace this darkness, become part of it, or you can fight it and risk losing everything." The room closed in around me, and I felt the weight of my family's legacy pressing down on my chest. My heart thudded in my ears, drowning out the sounds of the shadows. I could feel their pull, their whispers promising power, understanding, and a way to finally control the nightmares that had haunted me for so long. But at what cost? "Make your choice, Clara," Jamie urged, his voice steady amidst the chaos. "We can't let it dictate who we are." In that moment, I felt torn between the fear of the unknown and the undeniable bond of love for my brother, for Jamie. I took a deep breath, grounding myself in the reality of the moment. I had to confront my past, to fight not just for myself, but for Alex, for Jamie, for the future we could still have. "Then I choose to fight," I shouted, my voice echoing with newfound determination. "I refuse to be a pawn in this twisted game." As those words left my lips, a surge of energy coursed through me, igniting a fire in my chest. The shadows recoiled, their forms twisting in agony, as if my declaration had created a rift in their hold. I felt the presence of my family, their voices merging with mine, and it became clear that the power I sought was not just within me. It was a legacy I could wield against the darkness. But would it be enough? The room trembled, and I knew this was just the beginning of our battle against the malevolence that had ensnared us for so long. With Jamie and Alex by my side, I prepared to face whatever horrors awaited us, ready to confront the truth buried deep within the Thompson legacy. The moment I declared my choice, the very air around us shifted, crackling with a palpable energy. The shadows shrieked, their forms distorting as if my words had severed their connection to the darkness. I felt an overwhelming surge, a torrent of strength coursing through me, a power that felt both exhilarating and terrifying. But I was not unscathed. As the shadows writhed, I could feel the sharp claws of their despair snagging at my soul, leaving trails of icy pain in their wake. "Clara!" Jamie's voice broke through the chaos like a lifeline. He stepped closer, his eyes blazing with concern. "What's happening?" "I don't know," I gasped, my legs buckling slightly as I fought to remain upright. The shadows recoiled, but their whispers had not ceased. They filled my mind with dark promises and twisted memories, threatening to drown me in their despair. I could feel the weight of our family's history pressing down on me, the sins of generations echoing loudly in my heart. "Alex, help her," Jamie shouted, but my brother was standing there frozen, caught between the remnants of the boy he used to be and the darkness that had claimed him. I glanced up at him, and in that moment I saw the struggle within his eyes. He was still my brother. Despite the shadows that clung to him, with a surge of resolve, I reached out to him. "Fight it, Alex. You're stronger than this." The shadows lunged forward again, but this time, I felt the warmth of Jamie's hand grasping mine, grounding me amidst the tempest. Together we faced the darkness, and I could feel the bond of our friendship acting as a shield. Alex's expression shifted, and I could see the flicker of hope igniting within him, battling against the despair that sought to consume him. As we stood united, the shadows shrieked one last time, and with a violent flash of light, they were expelled from the room. The oppressive atmosphere lifted, leaving behind a silence that felt almost foreign. I collapsed to my knees, panting, but the victory was bittersweet. I had fought back, but I could already feel the shadows' lingering touch on my skin, the way they had etched themselves into my very being. "Clara, are you okay?" Jamie knelt beside me, his brow furrowed with worry. I think so," I stammered, my heart still racing. But as I looked up, I noticed Alex was no longer by my side. Panic surged through me until I saw him emerging from the corner of the room, his face pale, but the shadows had receded from his form, leaving him breathless yet free. "I can't believe we did it," he whispered, a mix of relief and sorrow in his eyes. Yet, as I gazed into those familiar depths, I sensed a lingering darkness, a piece of him that would never fully return. But the room still felt charged, the remnants of the shadows whispering in the corners, hinting at a deeper connection too, our family's past that had yet to be unveiled. I turned to Jamie and Alex, my heart heavy with unspoken truths. "This isn't over, is it?" "No," Alex replied, the weight of his words settling heavily in the air. "We've just scratched the surface. There are things we haven't discovered, and they won't rest until they're satisfied." As we began to pick ourselves up, the flickering candles cast eerie shadows that danced across the walls, and I caught sight of an old family portrait hanging askew. My heart skipped a beat as I noticed something peculiar in the background, an ominous figure lurking just beyond. The frame, its gaze fixed on us. "Clara," Jamie said, pulling me back to reality, "we need to figure out what this all means. There's more to this house than we thought." As I nodded, the adrenaline still coursing through my veins, I felt a new resolve building within me. Whatever awaited us, I was ready to face it, not just for our family, but for the truth that had eluded us for so long. The door to our past was ajar, and I was determined to step through it, leaving behind the scars of today while searching for the answers of tomorrow. As I turned away from the portrait, a chill crawled up my spine. The shadows had retreated, but their whispers lingered, a haunting reminder of the darkness we had barely escaped. There was no denying it. Our family's history was entwined with something far more sinister than we could have imagined. "Let's search the attic," Alex suggested, his voice steady yet laced with uncertainty. "There has to be something up there that can help us understand what we're dealing with." I nodded, but deep inside, a nagging doubt took root. What if the attic held remnants of our ancestors' secrets, secrets that could either save us or plunge us deeper into the abyss? As we ascended the creaking stairs, the air grew heavier, and I couldn't help but glance back at the portrait. The figure in the background seemed to shift, its eyes glinting with an insidious knowing. "Clara," Jamie said, bringing me back to the moment. "Are you ready for this?" "Ready?" I echoed, my voice barely above a whisper. "I don't even know what we're facing." "Neither do I," he admitted, his grip tightening around my hand. "But we're in this together. Together." The word felt both comforting and ominous. As we reached the attic door, a sense of foreboding washed over me. I could sense the shadows were merely waiting, biding their time, and I couldn't shake the feeling that the true battle was yet to come. With a deep breath, I pushed the door open. The musty scent of forgotten memories enveloped us, and the dim light revealed stacks of old boxes and cobwebs hanging like drapes. I stepped inside, heart racing, uncertainty swirling within me. What we discovered could alter our fate, yet the question remained. Would we be brave enough to confront the truth? As the door creaked shut behind us, I could almost hear the shadows whispering, "Welcome back." The echo of their laughter was a chilling reminder that while we had pushed back the darkness, it was far from defeated. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more stories like this. Share with your friends, so they can also embark on this mystery-filled adventure. Leave a comment below telling us your favorite part or what kind of ending you'd like to see in a future story.